son road trip.
But fast forward to today, and Jeff and Spence Siegel have just completed their mission to visit every Major League Baseball stadium and NBA arena together.
It's like my fantasy. It's what I want to do in my retirement. I'm so envious. It took them a decade to visit over 60 venues, and they're with us this morning to talk about their rather unique bonding experience.
Nice to see you guys.
Good morning.
Geez, he was just a twinkle in your eye when you decided this.
7 years old.
Wow. Why did you decide this?
Well, it began innocently enough as a couple of sports geeks out on the road just taking in ball games.
Right.
And over the years, it morphed into what we've come to call relation trips. And relation trips elevate the common road trip into a family adventure that begins weeks and sometimes months before you ever hit the road, and lasts weeks, sometimes months after you roll back into your driveway.
So, Spence, you don't think this is dorky at all, do you?
Well, no. I mean, 30 NBA arenas and 30 Major League ballparks is definitely quite the adventure.
Yeah. How does it start when you're planning this? Do you pick the games first? Do you pick the cities first? Do you map it out? Did you do a bunch of them in one trip?
We did them in clusters early on.
Yeah.
But really, the relation trip begins with identifying a common interest between parents and their kids.
Yep.
For Spence and me, it was sports.
Sure.
So they can be roller coasters, music, historical landmarks, food, really whatever lights a fire under your kids that you can then begin to build out and explore together.
When you guys started this, did you have any idea you'd still be doing it 10 years later?
Absolutely.
I don't think so.
It started slow and it just sort of snowballed, huh?
It did. On the third or fourth trip, Spence said, hey, what if we went to every NBA arena and every Major League ballpark? And as a single dad, I thought, okay, well, that'll give us an opportunity to spend some quality time together.
Okay, what do your friends say about it?
They think it's really cool, and I mean, obviously, you know, you get to this point, and I'm going to go study sports communications in the fall, heading off to college. So I think, obviously, I hope this had something to do with it.
That's an incredible essay to write, isn't it?
Yeah.
To school.
What's your favorite stadium?
We're somewhat partial to PNC Ballpark in Pittsburgh, Petco in San Diego, and of course US Cellular back home in Chicago.
How about yours? Is it the same?
Pretty much. I mean, I like some of the kind of iconic parks like Fenway as well.
So one of the things we were talking about is expensive. And you said you found more economical ways of doing this.
Yeah, I like to say, Ellie, that the most important currencies, if you will, in a relation trip are time and creativity. Spending time with your kids, coming up with ideas to build out the experience together, and then using your creativity, and your kids get involved in this as well, to find economic ways in which to take
and what are they? Because I'd love to know what the economic ways are of seeing.
Well, there's a lot of planning and research that goes into it. In my book, I talk about dozens and dozens of ways, pre-relation trip, in which to spend time with your kids, finding very economical ways to find those values out there on the open road.
How do you time it, though, so that you hit the park when the home team is playing at home?
Well, it was a lot easier way back when we had 60 venues that we were going to visit. So we did them in clusters. As we got down the home stretch, we had to get a lot more laser focused in pinpointing those that still remained.
Did you always talk about sports or the game at hand when you were at one of these venues, or do you find, I mean, when you're filling these hours, I mean, this is where you're really bonding with your dad, right?
Absolutely, and a lot of it is on the road when you're talking and you're in the car and you're driving to your destination, but then there's also at the actual ballpark, we'll go around on the concourses, we'll look at the food options, we'll see what the entertainment experience is like, and it's everything in between along with the game.
You ended up writing a book about this.
I did.
Because is it a sort of a memoir, or is it a book for other people to figure out how to do this?
It's part memoir and part workbook. I started speaking some time ago to parents groups, teaching them how to create relation trips of their own. And out of that presentation came the book, which shares dozens and dozens of ideas that any family can adapt to their own travel to create these adventures.
It doesn't necessarily have to be ballparks, right?
Not at all.
Anything.
Like you said, it could be roller coasters, theme parks.
Yeah, it's all about that common interest.
A friend of mine who has 5 kids, he says, you know, as a parent, the thing to remember as they get older, like your age, he said, you just can't leave them alone. Doesn't matter what you fill their time with, just don't leave them alone and left to their own devices. This is a very creative way not to leave them to their own devices. You get to have fun, too.
Do you end up talking about things that you may not have talked about if you weren't spending all this time with your dad?
I mean, I don't know necessarily that I look at it that way. I look at it as once we get back from a road trip, we have weeks and months after that, and we reminisce about whatever happens on those trips. Oh, you remember this moment in Colorado? Do you remember this in California? Something like that, and these memories will last forever.
And I like to say that the open road is a tremendous place in which to connect with your kids. I say that uncomfortable or awkward silences tend to break down right around the 100-mile mark.
Okay, so Spence, you're going to the sports communication, did you say? So pimp your book, and then we'll take it out.
Nice.
Okay.
There it is.
The book is called RelationTrips. It's available on Amazon.com.